This is the Business Connect, connecting businesses to the people, connecting you to who you need to know. I'm Josh Sullivan. These are the stories, the people. This is our community.
Welcome everybody to the Business Connect Podcast. I got another fire episode for you. I know that this was going to be special. I got my man Cheddy on, and I'm telling you, this one is going to be packed full of insight. I know that he's got some stuff that he wants to tell, wants to share. He's super excited about this. He does podcasting as well, so he's used to putting a whole lot of information into a short amount of time. So without further ado, Cheddy, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody all about yourself.
Josh, I couldn't get a better invitation to speak on your podcast than that. I am so honored to be in this space right now because you are a living legend, you are a phenom, and you are adding total value to everyone that listens, and it's just awesome. And I hope you get more listeners just from this. But thanks, brother, for doing this. And I'll tell you who I am. I'm Cheddy Matthews. I'm the square peg in the round hole. I'm the guy that fits nowhere, therefore I fit everywhere. So I was born in England, raised in New York, or should I say raised in England, grew up in New York. So I have a bit of both. So I can say please and thank you, but I'm not going to get scammed either. So I got the best of both worlds when it comes to that. Once I got to the States, at some point I decided I was too old to be in my mother's house, joined the Marine Corps. So for 20 years, I've been playing G.I. Joe all over the world, did some amazing things in the Corps, worked in some amazing spaces from the Middle East to Capitol Hill and all places in between. So it's been a great ride. A lot of experience from that, a lot of things that have formed the way I think and feel, the way I care about human beings and human life. A lot of that has been forged and fostered and developed in the Marine Corps. As strange as that may sound, but leadership is one of those things that starts with a human being, and I'm all focused on the human being. So why am I coaching? I have a company called Headspace Coaching. And of course, Josh said I also have a podcast called Winning Inside with Cheddy and Michelle. But the reason I got into coaching, once I was done with the Marine Corps, I realized I've done some really high-speed, sexy, cool stuff in the Marine Corps that I can never do again as a civilian. So I left the whole IT world, which is kind of what I did in the Corps, left it alone and said, I'm going to do something different. I don't want to be known. I want to be anonymous. I'm going to become a life insurance agent. So in my mind, I'm like, hey, no one's going to know me because I'm just going to be just a regular guy. That was the plan. I didn't realize you had to network and market yourself and get known by everybody to be known by everybody. So that didn't work out as designed, but it was great. But going through that, at that phase of my life was an interesting time because I felt like an outward success and an inward failure. And I'll go into that. And I was suffering inside. So at that time, I had just retired from the Marine Corps. So you got to imagine for 2 decades, well, really more than that, but over 20 years, I had a certain identity. I was a Marine, Major Matthews. That's who I am. You identify with that. You lose that, voluntary or not. I decided to retire, yet I still lost that identity. That's a loss. That's the cycle of grief and loss all day. Then I was going through an ugly, messy, nasty, disgusting, wouldn't wish it on anybody divorce that took 8 years to get like a stamp on a piece of paper. That was a loss of my family and my family identity and what I thought I was as a man. It's 2 losses. I can handle those 2. Okay, it's going to be tough, but I can handle them. Then I get a phone call from England. You need to come to England right now. Your sister's really sick. I'm retired. I sold my book of business. I'm going to England to take care of my sister. My sister passes away. Totally devastated. And I'll tell you, I thought being a Marine, seeing so much death, doing so many military funerals, dealing with decedent affairs and all those things, I'd have handled it. I knew how to deal with death and all the steps in that process. Gut punch, throat punch. I was not ready for that. It threw me off. And all 3 of those things, I just felt like an abject failure at life. I felt like I had lost everything. I didn't know what my purpose was for being on this planet Earth. And I just wanted to die. I was done. I had no purpose. I had no identity. Didn't know who I was. And I realized that because I was Major Matthews and because I was this insurance agent and this entrepreneur and I had these companies and I was doing all this stuff, who am I telling? Because I've, air quote, got it together in public. But at 2 o'clock in the morning, when it's just me, the clock ticking, the watch ticking, and the AC blowing, I was suffering. I was in my own personal hell and felt like I was dying every day, over and over again. And at some point, I realized as you start to recover from that and get out of it and trying to get your life back and do the whole Phoenix thing, rise from the ashes, you realize there's no way on the planet Earth I'm the only person going through this. There's no way. I'm going to become a coach to help people get through this. So I did that. And I went through the John Maxwell certification. If you know the author, John Maxwell, great fan, call him, Papa John. He had a coaching program, teach people how to speak, teach, and coach, and using his methodology. And he cares about humans in a way that I do as well. So it's totally aligned. In that, I was like, great, I'm going to help people just like me. The pain of that was so raw and so visceral and so deep that on a subconscious level, I would sabotage myself. And I would avoid dealing with that situation. I would always deal with business owners and leaders on a very superficial level. I can help you find money in your business. I can increase your profits and your revenue, which is great. It's what I do now. But it wasn't authentically why I became a coach in the first place. So when I decided to do this podcast, I was like, great, I'm going to do the podcast, get people on, have these intimate connections with people and have more clients. That was day one. As I started to write it, I was like, stop. You're not doing that. There are people suffering in silence who you will never meet personally that may listen to your podcast and it may stop them from committing suicide. It may stop them from walking away and leaving their family. It may stop them from making a decision that's going to be catastrophic for the rest of their life and their family's lives. This is not a business thing. This is your way of service. This is what you were designed and intended on this earth to do, help people. Because the goal for my life is to leave it better than I found it. That's simple, and it sounds simple, but that's why I'm here. If I don't do that, if the world is the same when I die as it is when I was born, I have failed. I cannot do that. And I can only do that in the ways that I can do that. And one way to do that is through this podcast, because it's reaching people in Poland who I don't know, who are probably benefiting from the fact they listen to this podcast. When I look at all the countries it touches, I'm like, I'm helping somebody who may not, just like me, seek help, because I'm the senior member in my family. I'm the CFO, I'm the CEO, I'm the owner, I'm the founder, I'm the boss, I'm the senior Marine leader, the military leader, I'm the senior government official, I'm the executive. Who do you tell when you're at those levels? The air is very thin up there. And for a myriad of reasons, most of them you put on yourself, you're not telling anybody. But the suffering is just the same. And I realized trauma is one of those things that I don't weigh. So you being humiliated as a child because someone pulled your pants down in high school is the same thing as somebody else having a scandal that totally destroyed your life, or being assaulted or being attacked or going through a disease, having a financial loss. That, as I used to call it, a significant negative event, that thing can throw the whole trajectory of your life off. So I call them now significant transitionary events, because it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. It could be, I retired. I chose to retire, but that transition cost me enough stress and loss of identity that it was just like it was a negative thing. So I've changed from it being a significant negative event to it being a significant transitionary event where that life change can really derail you. So with Headspace coaching, also with Winning Inside podcast, I am trying right now to help people from where they are to where they want to be, and to get that spark, like that fire that they may have lost. Because I personally believe everybody has a superpower. Everybody has a high level of awesomeness. And a lot of times they just don't walk in it for whatever reason. So I try to guide people back to that North Star, like, this is where you do your best work. This is where you are awesome. This is where life becomes easy for you. Josh, you do podcasts and you connect with people in a heartbeat because that's your superpower. It's just who you are. And people living in that space of power, you get to be your highest and best self. You get to live your best life. You get to do your greatest work. So that's me in a nutshell. It was a big nut. It wasn't a nut, it was a coconut, but that's me and my 2 cents. And I'm going to leave it at that.
If I was one of those big podcasters, I'd push the like standing ovation button, and like have all the sounds roar in the background. Because man, what a soapbox that was. No, but listen, that is the definition of why the Business Connect exists. It is to form a community around people because of the why, right? Yes. If someone just sees Cheddy Matthews and sees that you have a coaching, are they going to talk to you? Maybe, no. Maybe not. But when they can resonate with that story, then they're like, that's the only person I want to talk to. That's the only person I want to use. Same thing if it doesn't matter if it's a coach, if it's a store down the street 3 blocks from your house. Yeah. When you hear the stories of business owners, when you hear the stories of professionals, whatever they're in, whatever field they're in, you resonate with it. You want to support them in everything they do. And it builds this community behind that person. And that's what the Business Connect is all about. It's about building a community around each and every person I talk to and say, hey, listen to this guy. If you connect with him, connect with him and talk to him and, support him, support her, support this team of people, whatever it is. Yeah. It's all about telling the story so that people can connect with it. And again, that's my service. My service is helping business owners I don't charge a fee for anything dealing with businesses. If I help a business owner out, it's out because I love talking about small business. I love talking about business. I love talking about entrepreneurship. Yes. Everything about this is out of because I feel called to do it. I feel called to help people in that aspect because I came from a small town where everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew what everybody did. So now in this world where we're all connected so much more than we were before, we're also more disconnected than we ever were before because you don't know the stories of you don't know any stories. You don't know what people do. You don't know anything other than what's on their social media because people don't talk. People don't get out there. And so that's really what, where it all came from. And so literally you're just on the freaking line of exactly what we're talking about, exactly what we stand behind.
That's why we connected, because I am in this phase of life and I get to choose who I align with. I only align with people that care. If you don't care, that's fine. I'm probably not going to work with you and I'm probably not going to, work alongside you. I don't have to. And there are so many people out there that I know that care about people. Why not work with people that care so we can have a community of caring? Why not? It's easy.
Absolutely.
And
I mean, when you connect on that level, it's so much more powerful because the energy is like, I'm not a big like universe guy. Like I'm not saying like I don't, I'm not over here doing yoga, talking about the universe or anything. I'm just a redneck in South Carolina, right? But I do understand that like energy breeds energy. Like when you're in a negative situation or when you're in a negative headspace or when you're in just surrounded by negativity, you have no energy, you're drained, you can't be productive. So when you have that around you, it's so bad and you can't get anything done. And it's like, and you don't even know why. Like, even if you're normally a positive person, if you're surrounded by negativity, it will bring you down and you will not be able to accomplish the same things that you could have accomplished being alone. Much less if you were surrounded by other people that are like-minded and positive and go-getters. Like I've heard so many people talk about, you don't need but 4 hours of sleep, 2, 3, 4 hours of sleep, whatever. When you're around that environment, and you wake up, you don't want to go to sleep because you want to wake up and get back in that environment.
Get back in it. Yeah.
It's just that pump. Like that's why people don't work out in home gyms. They want to go to the gym because they want that environment of other people working out just as hard as they are. That's why the call center environment works. Because if you give somebody a phone at home and say, cold call these people, they're going to avoid it at all costs.
Yes.
But if you put them in a call center where everybody's doing it, this person over here just closed the sale. This person over here just closed the sale. It gets you hyped up.
The drum beat,
energy
the heartbeat.
Breeds energy.
Yes. Totally agree with that. I'm so amped up.
Awesome,
say it again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is golden.
Yeah. So I've got a freaking quote. So we're going to jump into the main part of the podcast.
Sweet.
Every week I read a quote. The guest doesn't know what it's about before we do it. Just that way we can get a genuine reaction.
Drum roll.
And when I saw this one, dude, I knew it was going to be stupid.
All right. I'm nervous now. All right.
So I got your boy. I had to go get your boy. I had to go get a John Maxwell quote.
Oh!
So this one is, your attitude towards failure determines your altitude after failure. So just want to get your genuine reaction on that quote and how it talks about success, how it relates to being an entrepreneur, and how it relates to being a business owner.
How much time do you have? 2 days? Because this could be a masterclass.
Yeah, at least 47 years.
Okay. That was golden. And I will tell you, I tell people to fail fast, fail often, fail forward, fail your way to success. And I tell my kids, especially, that's anything I say to business owners, I'm telling my own children. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm not giving you some pseudo information. My son is FaceTiming me right now. And I'm just like, I'll call you back. How did you learn to walk? Did you get a PowerPoint presentation? Somebody read you a book and you're like, left leg, right foot. Did you do that? No, you fell thousands of times and figured out, well, the left leg and the left leg again doesn't work. Right leg doesn't work. Okay, I figured it out. Well, let me try this. So I'm leaning too far this way. You figure it out from your mistakes. It's how we learn naturally. It's how you learn in business from your said mistakes. As long as you can learn from them. A failure is not fatal, but sometimes we make it seem that way. And why do we do that? Because from the age of 4, 5, 6 to 17, 18, we are taught in school that failure is bad. You suck, you failed, you got a 65, you need to get a 70, whatever it is, you missed the mark. So we think of failure as abject failure. It's fatal, you're done. So we're afraid to fail. We don't want to fail. But if you don't want to fail, you cannot learn. There are so many lessons from failure. You learn what not to do. Think about it in business. There are things that happen. When I had a car business years ago, when I was a Marine, I was at the Pentagon. I used to do national defense, go out into the courtyard and sell car parts. So that was my life. I had sold a high-end exhaust system for this rare BMW 850, and it cost like a boatload of money. Came straight from Austria, shipped it out to California. Guy never paid me. Wholesale, that was like $1,500 per exhaust. It was dual exhaust. So $3,000 gone. I'm glad I learned that lesson at $3,000 and not with a shipment of a big old container load of $30,000 worth of inventory that I did the same thing on. Can you imagine not learning that lesson at that level and learn it at a higher level? Grateful for the lesson learned. Never got paid. By the time I found the guy, I went to California to find the guy, went out of business. But guess what? If you're shady, you're going to go out of business. Another lesson learned. You have no integrity. I don't want to work with you, and you're not going to be around. So there were so many lessons in that series of events. So yes, do not be afraid to fail. If you're not failing, you're probably not doing enough. As a Marine, I was very leery of the Marines that were just always playing it safe, because you're not helping the organization to grow. If you're not pushing the envelope, if I said my job is to tell you to pump your brakes, cool your jets, power down, slow down, stay in this lane. If I'm not telling you that, you're not pushing hard enough. I loved when my Marines would go hard and like learn some new stuff and be innovative and push the envelope. And hey, that's my job. I love that. And there was a time when I would tell people, as we were talking in the middle of a conversation, I'm like, bang, you're dead. You're in charge. What do you do now? Bang, you're dead. You're in charge. What do you do now? Bang. And then finally, some junior would be like, all right, so we're going to do this, this, that, and that. And what happened is people realized I need to learn everybody else's job. I need to learn more than just my job. If I'm just pushing this button all day, what is that guy doing over there? What is the boss doing? And what that did is it helped them to realize that your job is bigger than you, because things can change in a moment's notice and the show must still go on. And that's kind of like a lesson you get in business. Failure is how you get refined. Why do we have research and development? Why is there a skunk works? Why does, Google spend so much money on just innovating? Because in those mistakes is where the genius comes from. Why did it take Edison over 10,000 times to create a light bulb? Because that's how you learn. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, that doesn't work either. But guess what? We all have lights around us now because of those mistakes made then. And those mistakes aren't stopping points. They're learning points, transitional points, decision points. Good grief, I could go on all day. And I will tell you, we just
need to go back in the annals of all of the podcasts we've already done, because Fail Forward is definitely a podcast title. So you said that. The Edison, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I learned 10,000 ways not to do it. That was a quote I used.
Wow.
Yeah, so everything you've said, we've already covered. It's great. It's so funny. I tell people, like, you can't listen to a podcast and have like a layout of how to be a business owner, or have a layout of like exactly what's going to happen in business.
Right.
But when you listen to all of these podcasts back, there are underlying bricks of foundation with every single person saying the exact same things that tell you, listen, if you want a head start, you might want to lay this foundation down.
Yes, that is gold. That is gold. Because some things are just universal, and we may say them in different ways, but on this entrepreneur journey, when you read somebody's book a lot of times, or you hear somebody get an interview, they may just talk about them being at the pinnacle. That's great now. But let's talk about the journey to get there, because the journey that's where the treasure is. And as you know, I had a friend who just climbed Everest 2 weeks ago. A week ago. She was coming down last week, but she went up 2 weeks ago. I'm looking at the pictures. I'm like, she's climbing up. Why are the pictures of her going down? So I'm scratching my head like, that's life. That's the entrepreneur journey. On her way up, at certain points in that journey, she was going down. But in the aggregate, she was going up. And at first, it was a head scratcher for me. Like, how is that even possible? But how is it possible that you can start your business and it goes in a low, then it goes in a high? You think you're a genius. You think you're a loser. You think you're great. You got it together. I want to quit. I want to do this forever. I'm going to change the world. What was I thinking? I hate this job. I'm going to go and get another gig. Whatever, that whole journey. And every entrepreneur's like, yep. Sometimes you can have those feelings all in the same day or the same week. It's just the journey of being an entrepreneur, and you've got to enjoy all of it. Enjoy the highs, because if you've ever seen a sine wave or a cosine wave or a radio wave or anything like that, they go up and they go down. That is how life goes. That's how your heartbeat is. It goes up and it goes down. So you're going to have highs. Enjoy the highs. Save some of that energy from the highs or the resources or whatever it is. Save some of that stuff from the wins, some of those treasures, because there will be a low. And you need to have something stored up to maintain and manage yourself through and sustain yourself through those lows, whether they're financial lows, emotional lows, inventory lows, unintentional, unseen lows, i.e. COVID-19, that you didn't expect, a black swan event that just comes out of the blue and changes everything. You've got to have something prepared for that.
If you can take it, and if you can take it, I tell people this all the time. If you can get it from being peaks and valleys to being plateaus, changes the whole game. Because a lot of the time, growth in business is one thing works and it takes your business to another level. Well, you want to sustain that level.
Yes.
Just, do whatever it takes to lock that level in and be a plateau.
Yes.
Now you can start the cycle of trial and error again to try to take your business to the next level. But don't risk losing that level, that peak that you're at.
Yes.
That's your new benchmark. Don't drop below that benchmark. So get to where you can now, okay, we're there. Now, boom, let's go again. And now we can expand again and get to another new high. If we can make it a stair-step journey instead of a peaks and valley journey,
yes,
it will be so much better for you as a business owner, for your family, for everyone around you. And it's just, I don't even know how to put it into words almost. It's like, it's just, you've got to, because that's what happens is all of a sudden you'll be trial and error, and something will stick and it just shoots you up.
Yes.
Okay, well, that worked. Keep it. Now, lock it in, figure out, yes, you may come down just a little bit. That's fine. It's okay. But try to figure out how to lock that in as a solid, steady peak or a plateau.
Yes.
And once you can lock that in as a steady plateau, now we start it over again. Because listen, I don't know how tall Everest is, but I don't know it off the top of my head. But however tall Everest is, guess what? It would be a lot easier if it was just stairs up to the top, right?
Heck yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. What you're saying is magic. What you just said was audible gold. So if you get nothing from this podcast, listen to what was said at this timestamp right now. Look at your clock. Look at this. Look at the little bar. And that's what you want to go back like about 3 minutes and listen to that whole sequence. Because what you said is like amazing. Because once you get to that state of refining, and that comes from refining your processes and your systems to a point where you can do that. What you have now is a business that is scalable. It's measurable. It's predictable. Because you have processes in place that that if I do this amount of effort, I get this amount of result. I make this many phone calls, I get this many yeses. I get this many yeses, they buy this amount of product or service or whatever it is. You can take that to the bank. As long as my people are doing this, this will be the result. If the results change, maybe the training has to change. Maybe the audience has changed. Maybe the needs have changed. What is the refinement that has to happen to get to the next level? And what you said, I call it a phase shift. Hey, you got water, you give it enough consistent energy, nothing happens. But there's a point where you give it a little bit more energy and now it turns into steam. There's a point where it just goes from being hot water to now it's steam. Totally different characteristics, totally more expansive, and you can do different things with it. But you've got to give it sustained energy to get to that point. That's the plateau. And then once you say, let's move on now to the next level, that's that little bump in energy to get it to the next state. It's a phase shift. And that's what happens in businesses with that consistent growth. And the more you can measure your efforts and output and input and everything else, you can measure all of the processes. You can see what those things do. And all I can think of is Homer Simpson when he's in his nuclear reactor and he has all these dials and gauges. That's what you're doing. You're regulating. Well, he wasn't doing it very well, but if you were an engineer, a nuclear engineer or someone, and you're looking at all your gauges and dials, you're monitoring and regulating everything. Anything with gauges and dials, you're monitoring the inputs and outputs to make sure things are flowing properly. If you're in your car and you have gauges and dials, you see like one of those needles turns red, your car's too hot. You got to change something. If your charge is too low, you got to change something. So measuring enables you to do what you just said and kind of soften those peaks and valleys to get more of something that's manageable. Because once you can measure it, you can manage it. If not, it's almost going blind. And that's why some people go from feast and famine.
I was going to use this example earlier when we were talking, and then we got to another point, and I squirreled. But so I coach my son's baseball team, right? There's 7 and 8 year olds. And last night at practice, we just had a few people there because it had rained. We sat out the rain. We waited. A lot of the kids left and went home, but it's all good, right? So it just gave me more one-on-one time with this group of a few kids.
Nice.
And talking about managing the inputs and outputs, it's so hard to focus on everything. So you have to, with these kids, I'm sitting there and helping them. Like, we're working on their batting, and I'm very proud that my team can out hit pretty much any team, and I'm happy about that because that's the fun part of baseball.
Yep.
No one is out in the field being like, "Oh my God, this is the most fun thing I've ever done." They're standing there waiting for a ball to get hit to them. Every kid wants to hit. That's the most fun part. So if you can make that enjoyable, they're going to love baseball.
Yes.
So for these kids, like, it's each one has a different issue with their batting. I mean, they're 7 and 8, but they can't focus on 20 things at once. Just like in your business, there's going to be things that you can't focus on.
Yeah.
That's why you have to have a process. That's why you have to have other people around you that you trust that can focus on these things. But these kids, every one of them had a different thing. And it's one of those things where, I would tell them for 5-6 swings, I'd be like, focus on this, focus on this, focus on this. No, this, no, this, no, this. Stop trying to hit it hard. We're not worried about the results. This is where you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Where we're taught you have to succeed at everything. You can't fail. And they would miss the ball and hit the tee. And I'm like, good, great swing. And they're like looking at me like, what? I'm like, I don't care if you hit the ball. I don't care. Stop trying to hit it hard. Stop worrying about where the ball goes. All I care about in this particular swing is your leg action or your hand action, whatever it was for that particular kid. The only thing we care about in this one swing is this one thing. Just do that right. Don't care where it goes. But they all want to still try and swing as hard as they can. They also want to hit the ball as far as they can.
Yeah.
But when they would focus on it for 4, 5, 6 swings in a row, like I tell them to, and then I'd say, okay, stop. Don't think about anything. Just hit it. And they'd hit it further than they'd hit it ever again. And then they're like, what?
It worked.
Oh my God. I'm like, see, guys, listen and do the little things. We're not doing this forever. We're just trying to get it to where you understand what it feels like. And then magic. And now they're at a new plateau. Now we can look at something new.
Yes.
If it starts to suffer, we'll go back to it for a little bit. But that's how you have to run a business the same way. You got these inputs, you got these outputs, you got everything going on. Listen, whatever is lacking, whatever is the problem in the business, yes, you're going to give it the most attention.
Yes.
But it is not 120. You don't take 200 days and only stare at that one thing.
Yes.
Do 5 or 6 swings. Then you check. Okay, did that fix it? Is everything good? Is everything good? Okay, now let's go back and focus on the weak link. All right, is everything good? Focus on the weak link. Is everything good?
It.
That it's the same thing. But I've got a podcast back with Katie, who called Live Like a Kid. Run your business like a kid. They have short attention spans. You should run your business the same way. Have a short attention span. Focus on this and then go big picture. Focus on this, then go big picture.
I'm going to say I love that because I tell people, be childlike, not childish. Big difference. And what you just said was just like, bink, light bulb, because children are curious, high energy, brave, courageous, willing to learn, and all of those things will help you. Imaginative. All of these things are going to, heck, when you started a business, you imagined it first. I'm going to do this because I do this better than anybody else. The way people do it right now sucks, but the way I do it is pretty awesome. And I know that it's going to change the world. And then we get into it and then we change and we convert. Guilty, done the same thing, and we do what everyone else has done. No, exactly. Be brave enough to be the only person doing what you do. Yes, we are entrepreneurs, and yes, we are weirdos in the most beautiful way possible. I love entrepreneurs because we just see the world different. And other people look at us like, what the heck? What was that? I don't get it. And I get all excited when I hear that because you realize they're seeing how things can be. They see in the future. They don't live here. They might work here, but they're already looking towards the future where they can be and what they can do. And it's just exciting to me. Just people who are visionaries, who are forward thinking, who are trying to change things for the better and just make a difference is amazing to me. So I love that. And we lose that as, and kids, and they'll say stuff and they'll say it so matter of factly, which is what we ought to do. You know what? I'm going to create this thing so we can do that. They have a problem, they create a solution, and they move on. And then we get to a certain age where that can't be done. Well, we get all rigid with it. But think about it. There was a guy, I told someone this the other day, who said, I'm going to create a horseless carriage. Think about this. I'm going to create a horseless carriage. Their friends probably thought, you are an idiot. Yet, we measure cars' power in what? Horsepower. Yet, I have not seen any horse on any car in a very long time.
There's a horse on a Mustang.
I thought about that, but it's
As
on it. It's not helping it to go anywhere. Think about it. And I thought about it as I was saying, I was like, Mustang, but it's not helping to propel the vehicle. It's helping to sell the vehicle. But
well, if you talk to Mustang owners, they will tell you that the logo makes it go faster. My brother owns a Mustang, so I can literally say that and make fun.
They're loyalists.
I can make fun of him and all the other ones and say that because he has a Mustang and he probably thinks it makes it go faster.
Yeah, well, it's the Mustang Magic. No offense to the Mustang enthusiasts. That is a huge club. That is a huge fraternity. So answer well.
All the offense to Mustang. Come after me. I bet you won't listen to this. I will bet every Mustang owner in the world won't listen to this podcast.
Subliminal message. Listen to the
Subliminal
podcast.
message. Listen to the podcast.
Oh, yes, I will.
Reverse psychology. Hey, but guess what? But then we got to create competition. So I bet all the Corvette owners won't listen to this podcast either.
Oh, exactly. One against the other. There we go. I like how you think, sir. I like how you think. My gosh. You know what? I'm on the West Coast, so it's super early here. And I'll tell you, starting your day with this much gold only ensures my day is going to be great. I cannot believe I just did a 5-mile walk, took a shower, got ready for this podcast. And the amount of gold, for a moment there, I got to tell you, just to be honest, you were talking, I forgot that I was actually a guest on your podcast. I was sitting there listening, like I almost started to break out a pen and start taking notes. I was about to rewind it when I realized, oh, that's my face. Oh, that's me. Oh, like, kid you not, like I totally had I want to call it an out-of-body experience, but I had a butt-in seat experience, like I was watching it as somebody listening and one of your listening audience members. That's because of the gold that you were just spitting just now. That was audible gold, sir.
Stop trying to just like flatter me over here. There's no money involved in this.
He paid for that. Venmo, PayPal, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Cash App.
Yep. I'm sending it right now. Hold on. Oh, no. There we go. No, man, it's
that was
just one of those
fired
things.
up.
Like, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I read a thing about Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
I think it was Bezos. Pretty sure it was Bezos. But anyways, he doesn't take a meeting until after 10 o'clock every morning. So he wakes up, he does whatever he's doing, he eats cereal, and then he goes and sits and watches whatever he wants to watch. And he just he pedals around, right? Like he just does whatever. And then he's like, okay, now I'm ready to turn on. Like, and there's some that I think the new CEO of, I can't remember. There's another CEO out there that he wakes up at 6.
Yeah.
And then does stuff for 3-4 hours and then takes his first meeting at 10. So there's something to that being super productive before you ever start work, before you ever start, and I get it. Like some people are like, for instance, me, I have a 2-year-old that hates sleep. He boycotts sleep. So is it difficult for me to wake up? Or yes, because sometimes I don't go to sleep until super late and it's not,
of course.
I can't control that. He's 2.
Yeah.
But I do have some caffeine helpers that I can drink and wake up earlier. It just takes me time. But there's a time limit on it regardless. I've got an 8-year-old that has to go to school. So he forces me to wake up at a certain time or else he ain't getting to school on time. And then they're going to call me and tell me I'm a terrible parent. Yeah. So once you got to utilize what you've got, right? You got to utilize it and make it work for you.
Yes.
Right. And guess what, dude? If you need to take a nap in the middle of the day, I mean, I've heard Google and Facebook and all them places, they've got sleeping quarters. Go take a nap in the middle of the day if you need it.
Yeah.
Make your home office or make your other office, whatever it is, like Google and Facebook. Take a nap in the middle of the day. Go play basketball. Sometimes you got to check out to check in.
To check in. Oh, that is golden. That's quotable. Timestamp that. Go to check out to check
Sullivan, 5/6/2022. You're welcome. All the shirt makers out there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you, I had a mentor. I used to be in the equipment leasing and financing industry when I was a Marine. I had a million businesses while I was a Marine in the States. Had to dissolve them because I always got assigned overseas. But I had an equipment leasing and financing company. And my mentor, Phil Duche from Manhattan, had this awesome, his office was just off of Wall Street.
Last name just sounds important.
This dude was a living legend. He was so New York. Cheddy, baby, I take a nap every day. And I'm thinking, I'm a young, I'm a firecracker of a Marine. I'm like, how lazy is that? What do you mean? You're like a million, you're like a millionaire. Like, what the heck are you talking about? He's like, Cheddy, baby, I go to my office and everyone knows I'm going to take a nap. And I take a nap to rest my mind and to get creative and find new ways to make money. I think I broke a tooth when my jaw hit the ground. When he said it, I was like, that's where he gets his inspired ideas from, his inspired actions. That's why he's always on the leading edge. That's why he's so far ahead. That's why he just gets so creative with his finances. And I was like, holy smokes, there's something to that. So I started to realize you've got to take time out for you to really massage and get the things out, because that is one of your biggest assets, is your mind, and just getting into it, because it sees so much, so many things you've consciously forgotten. You have to tap into it and be like, oh, that's going to help me do this. It's going to help me do that. Your journey, your life's journey has given you so much nuggets, so many experiences, so many tools, but we don't always know how to use them. You got to give yourself the time to breathe and just reassess, where did I put that in my toolkit? Because the answer, the solution you're looking for can sometimes be a meditation away, a rest away, a mindful moment away, just enough time to pause and think. Because I tell you, society has taught us not to think. Everyone thinks they think, but I guarantee you we don't think as much as we think we do. I guarantee. And you know, an example of that, driving. My daughter just got a car, so she's like driving. So I'm going to go with the driving one. So when she drives right now, music down, eyes wide open, mirrors, gauges, gauges back, space, her eyes are all over. She's thinking about everything. When you drive, you're eating, the phone's ringing, you're talking to your kid, you're looking out the window, you're doing a million different things, because you know where you're going. You kind of just get there. You don't have to pay as much attention anymore. So you do certain things by rote, by experience, by repetition. It's not necessarily thought anymore. And if you think about when you first started to drive, 2 hands on the wheels, you weren't driving with the steering wheel on your knee, driving with your knee because your hands were both busy. No, you were 2 hands on, eyes on, ears on. I mean, every sense was involved in you driving. Now, you can drive half asleep. Most of us do. And it's because it requires less thought now. So get into the space where you actually really get into your mental faculties and really just get to use your mind, because I guarantee a lot of the answers you need, you already have. Just turn the noise down. Turn the noise down.
So I think that is the exact thing that needed to be said right there, because so many people, when we're talking about this stair-step journey, so many people will get to a plateau and then they'll just flip the autopilot switch and just let it run.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, why is my business not growing? Because you're not trying. You're not trying to do anything. You are on autopilot. You got to a place that was comfortable. Growth is not comfortable at all. It is not comfortable. Is it comfortable to run a race and try to beat the last time you did? Absolutely not. Your legs are going to burn.
Nope.
Olympic sprinters train running downhill because they got to teach their legs to go faster.
Overspeed.
Your business is not going to get better if you're on autopilot. It is not going to grow unless you're doing something uncomfortable, unless you are trying to fail. Push the limits. Limits are called limits for a reason, because you're under them. Like, that's your ceiling. You've got your ceiling, you got your floor, and you're comfortable in your space, in your little room, where the floor is here and your ceiling's here. Well, guess what? Grab a damn ladder. Let's go. Like, the limits. I mean, there's so much that people just get comfortable and they just won't go.
Yeah.
Like, hey, traffic, for instance. Why are you not just going, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we sit there all the time. Just drive. Right. You'll be on, like, I recently went down to Florida and, like, I'm on 95, like, we're riding down 95, and, like, you get in a traffic jam, and then by the time you start going again, you're looking around, there's no wrecks.
What happened?
No cop car. What happened? Why do we, what? You know what I mean? But, like, that's how business is too. Like, you get hit this slow period, and then you're like, what happened? Why did we get slow? Because you weren't pushing anymore.
Yes.
You got to guarantee you're not slow is never slow down yourself.
There you go.
Listen, jump over what's in your way.
Keep going.
There's
Find
hurdles.
a way.
They're called hurdles for a reason, because you can jump over them.
There you go. I love that. I have a friend, Marine buddy. He's a coach. Yeah, he's running for public office. And Luke Wright would tell you, don't find an excuse, find a way. He's been saying that for so many years. It's just who he is. But this is the guy that will find a way. Like, he's just, that is part of who he is. I have another friend who's a Marine. I have a lot of Marine friends, go figure. And he's an entrepreneur now, and he'll tell you, keep winning. And he says, keep winning all the time. And if you look at his life, he is always winning. He doesn't plateau. And I love the fact that these guys don't plateau. I say stay amazing, because if you're amazing, just being amazing compels you to keep going better, because people who are amazing aren't status quo guys. I didn't say stay status quo, stay average. No, stay amazing. Keep pushing your level. Get into the red zone. Get those high RPMs. Just keep pushing. lean your head in there, put your shoulder in it, whatever you had to say to get in there, whatever it takes for you to kind of realize, I've got to go a little harder than I did before, because there is no growth, none whatsoever, in the comfort zone. And anything that is stagnant tends to die. Hello, flatline. You ever seen stale water that like goes from being water to then turning green, then turning brown to like brown, and then all of a sudden organisms are growing out of the water? Yeah, it's because it's dead. Because
you lived in North Carolina enough. You know what giant state bird lives on stale water. Daggone mosquitoes. You know what happens when you get them bloodsuckers. You know what I mean?
Do. Oh, yes, you do.
Gross. Yeah, I know you're West Coast now, but you didn't forget. You ain't forgot about some giant mosquitoes that we got over here.
That's why I left. That's why I left. So, those little helicopters and whatnot, flying on you, just extracting your life force. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, but no, listen, that's I didn't say that we stay at a plateau. I said it's a stair step. We built a stairwell to get to the top of Everest.
Absolutely.
And we ain't gonna get 3,000 feet up and then sit there. If you want 3,000 feet up, just go to the little hill over here. You know what I mean? Like go to the North Carolina mountains, or go to one of the smaller mountains that's 3,000 feet. Like, if you want to accomplish Everest, you want to accomplish the tippity top that you can accomplish.
Yeah.
Now, Elon Musk would say, "Screw you guys, I'm jumping in a spaceship and I'm going way further." But
that's okay.
Hey, I don't know that anybody's got that amount of leg energy to climb stairs all the way to space. So
good luck.
We'll let Elon do his deal.
Your thing.
It's not a plateau, right? Like, there's a difference between a step and a plateau.
Yes,
they're both flat.
Yes.
But there is, when you get on a staircase, it's taking you somewhere.
Yes.
Plateau is you're just planning on sitting there, because listen, think about the mesas in Arizona, right? They're plateaus, right? That's
absolutely
the geological term for them is plateau.
Yep.
Okay. Well, think about that. There's edges on every single side. You can't go nowhere once you get up there.
Yep.
A stairwell takes you somewhere.
Exactly. And it's beautiful, because when you use those words, I don't want people have to make sure they realize that when you talk about this concept, you're not saying rest on what you're trying to get beyond is you're maintaining something that's working. So you're managing it and you're working the kinks out. So you're almost perfecting it until you get to the next level. So you're gaining momentum in this space is what you're gaining. Let me do it again. Gaining momentum as you go in this space, but you're not resting on your laurels. So when we say plateau, we're not talking about just sitting there. I'm good. I'm great. Money's coming in. Life is good. And my job is done. That is not what you're saying at all. You are not saying that. I'm sorry. I got away from the mic. I got excited.
No, you're good.
But you're leaning in. And you're learning and you're trying to refine and you're figuring out what works, because things that work now, there may be some sketchy things in our processes that for the next level need to be solid, need to be rock solid. We need to get this system tight so we can then plus an additional 100 clients to get to the next level. So we can increase our price point, so we can do more, whatever that means to you. So we can buy 2 more trucks, so we can add 2 more flavors of ice cream, whatever it may be, so that we can get to the next level. We have to make sure we are good at the level where we are right now. That is not the same as resting on your laurels. That is just maintaining a process that is working. Whew.
Yep. It's that energy, right? So if you think about climbing a stair, right, you have to load your leg. So I'm big on biomechanics and baseball swing and then
baseball coach.
Baseball coach. But I mean, I was a golfer first, but before I was a coach, I mean, I played baseball, but didn't turn to golf. But I'm huge on the biomechanics of the golf swing, biomechanics of the baseball swing. They're pretty similar. And force, it's crazy to me that these people get on these force plates and you actually can watch where, you would think, like, can you make yourself weigh more? No. I mean, over time eating more, right? But like in the swing, they actually get to where they're applying, where the ground feels them be double their weight.
Yes.
But then they also get where they unweight, where there is less pressure on the ground. But it's about that energy. You have to compress. You have to compress your energy and then explode it. Same thing in your business. Like that stairwell, that stair is about taking a breath, checking, make sure everything is, and then focusing your energy to pop again.
Wow.
Focusing your energy, pop. Wow. Think about a bouncy ball. If you just drop a bouncy ball, it doesn't bounce back as high. But if you take the same level and you force it down, it comes up 2, 3, 4 times as high.
Yeah.
It's that energy, it's that momentum, it's that compression to pop.
Yep. And it's funny how that's physics. We're talking physics right now, but it applies to life. It's more universal than just physics. It applies to so many areas. And what you're talking about is that concentrated effort, that concentrated energy, that dedication, that drive. And you can give it all the words you want to, but it really is, as you said, compression in order to have the expansion that you want. It's that bringing everything in tight so you can expand and grow later. It's inhaling so you can exhale. You know, it's cocking your arm back so you can push it forward. It's all of those things that, you know, what you're saying is gold. Josh, this is gold.
I think this is the perfect time to transition to the last segment, because we've got so much good stuff going.
Holy
and I know that the next
smokes.
Here's our little breath. And now we're gonna get to the last section. So this is a concept I've created. I bring it up to every guest.
Yes.
Some know it before, some don't. But the savage mind is a concept I've created. The definition of a savage is not domesticated or under human control.
Yes.
It is, the second definition is lacking the restraint normal to ordinary civilized humans. So for me, the savage mind concept comes from a place of being true to your thoughts, not letting the outside humans control your thoughts, control your destiny, control your path. It's all about staying true to who you are and saying, okay, that's normal for society. The second definition, that's normal for society, but that ain't me.
Yeah.
You do it your way, regardless of what the outside says. So again, just want to get your genuine reaction on that and kind of, you know, see where you think that leads.
Well, I know you had Nathan Bourne on the other day, who's a living legend to me. I love that guy. Love you, Nathan. But that is limbic system all day, the deeper core of who you are. And I'm always talking about people being authentic. If you want to be your best self, you have to be your authentic self, because your authentic self is the best version of you there is. That best version of you is not the refined, outside, dressed up, nice one, as you said, the side of you with the home training. It's the visceral side of you, that gutsy, raw side of you, that side of you that really sees how things are. It's the side of us that we try to hide, we try to rationalize away, we try to so many things to kind of dress it up and hide it and disguise it and mold it so that other people accept it. Be you. Because, Josh, I could read everything you've done. I could watch you. I could observe you. I could spy on you. I could be a fly on the wall in your house, and I could never be you. I could never be you. I'd be the cheapest, most worthless facsimile of you if I even tried. But guess what? I've got 48 years of being this guy. I like this guy. I know this guy. And guess what? It takes very little effort for me to be this guy. Whereas if I'm trying to be you, I'm going to look like a weirdo. I'm going to feel like a weirdo. Anything I say is going to be so pseudo and artificial that it's not going to work at all. Because my whole being is going to be like, what are you doing? That's not you. What are you doing, mate? Stop. Like, be you. So be yourself. Be that raw person. If you like something, gravy. If you don't. Good. Because other people are going to respect you and they're going to be attracted to you for who you are. Because your vibe affects your tribe. And if you're working on that visceral, raw level of who you are, people are like, I don't know why, but I like that person. If you've ever seen Josh Review, I was like, I don't know why, but I like that dude. I remember when I first met you, that was the first thing I said. Why? Because you were at that level too. That is the savage mind. Being unapologetically awesome. Being unashamed to be who you are. Because that in and of itself, whatever it is that you do, people may say things about it, but privately they'll be like, man, I respect you for being who you are. I'm not brave enough to do what you did. I wish I could do what you do. You know what? They may say things in a different way because they're watching. Because many people want to be authentic, but aren't brave enough, don't know how to, and have been too domesticated to be their authentic selves. Live, because you only get one shot at this one. Live.
I watched earlier. I watched a video in my lead up to my day. I TikTok. I gotta admit, I watch TikTok, but
I gotta admit,
yeah, I know. Everybody's got. Well, it's my kid's fault because he's like, "Hey, let's watch TikTok," and I'm like, "All right, whatever." Okay. And then I get stuck in the cycle. But you know, I've talked about this on the podcast, and again, you're doing a great job to promote podcasts because Authentic is a podcast, Unapologetic is a podcast. So you're doing a great job just mentioning all the podcast titles.
Looking for royalties.
I'm gonna have to make a giant check on this one. And I was watching one, but in one we've talked about how people see life and see businesses and see everything through a filter now. Everybody sees everything through an Instagram filter. They don't see how stupid the person looks on the back end making this picture. Well, I saw a TikTok today where somebody didn't cut the video where it was this kid in a BMW acting like he's a badass, right? He's starting it up and he's trying to act like a badass. Well, they don't cut the video, and then he gets up and he walks out of the dealership. It was a freaking car in a dealership.
Of course.
Like, but that's what people see. That, like, they've been taught, everybody's been taught to not be themselves, to be this flashy person on Instagram, because that's how you get followers, and everybody's competing for followers and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I've had people are like, how are you getting your views and how are you getting your subscribers on YouTube? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't do anything. Like, I'm just making podcasts and putting them out there. I'm like, trust me, I can't believe that 4,000 people want to listen to me talk. When I first started this, I thought if I had 100 people listen to it, that was pretty successful. Listen, trust me, I'm not doing anything to make it crazy. Because I'm just as shocked about it as anybody else. I stopped looking at it. I used to look at it daily and be like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. I stopped looking at it because now I'm just like, I'm kind of like worried about it. I'm like, whoa, geez, man, what happens if like people stop liking me? And now like it's got me to be worried about like, and I've never worried about what people think. I'm never worried about doing things differently or anything like that. But now it's like, it's looking at it and I'm like, man, I've got to make sure that I keep bringing the heat. Yeah. But what got me there was being me, not trying hard. And so sometimes, you know, you have those, and it's okay. Like even the strongest person in the world has those moments where it's like you revert to something else. But like that self-awareness to be like, hey, that's not you. Get back to what's real. That is what it takes to really be authentic. It's like not saying like you never have those other thoughts. Right. Not saying you never have this weakness. You never have this. But knowing what's you, knowing what your image is, and saying, nope, that's not me, forget it.
Yep. That is powerful. It is beautiful. And I think sometimes being authentic is the power to say no, knowing what's for you and what's not for you, and having the ability to walk away from things that aren't you. Because you hear this all the time. I hear this with artists a lot who become whatever they've become. And at some point in their career, they then change. You're like, why'd they change their format? Because now they have a place where they can be their authentic self. And they've always been like, it's not my true north. And now they're following their true north, and their music style changes, the way they write changes, the way they do everything changes, because now they're working from an authentic space. People feel that. So what you're saying is so much gold. So good, Josh. This is good stuff.
I think that artist analogy is the best way to show that, because you're right. There's so many, and you know, it's well documented that record labels change people to what they.
I'm going to make you a star,
right?
Be afraid.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, so people do. Aaron Lewis has a song, and in it says, "I sold my soul to the devil," whatever, right? The Music Man said he was gonna make me a star. And like that's the thing, is like it is like that. It's, hey, if you want to be successful, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And there's a lot of people out there that Dave Ramsey. Trust me,
bless you.
I've talked about that a lot. Anyways, we really don't have time for that one. And so there's people out there that say you have to be this in order to be successful. Blanket advice. This blanket advice of, no, that's how that person was successful, and now they've turned it into a business and wrote a book about it, and you fell into the trap of buying the book and paying them a bunch of money. But hey, when I release a book, everyone should buy it. Okay,
of course, we are the exceptions to that.
I'm the exception. But you know, that's the thing. It's like they try to make everybody in their own image. Coaches, record labels, whatever it is, they want to make that person in their own image. You know, I play golf. There's golf coaches out there that have like this systematic swing. The stack and tilt was a fad for a little bit. And they made every person that ever went to them, they made them swing the exact same way. Didn't matter about the body type, didn't matter about anything. You have to swing this exact way. There's other coaches out there that have been around for 60-something years, and everybody still knows their name because they worked with the player in making them the best version of themselves.
That is a coach. That is inherently a coach, pulling out what they have inside them and helping them to strengthen that. That is a quintessential coach in anything. It's not me telling you how to do it. It's not the Cheddy's method to your life. How would I know? What makes me qualified to live your life? I don't have all your history and your pedigree and your background and your DNA. I don't. But I do have the ability to ask you enough questions for you to start to find out what that is inside of you. And, maybe give you some tips that help you along to augment what you already have. But it's you, not me. As a coach, really, my job is to put a flashlight on you. So I showcase you and help you to see things you don't see because they're hidden in plain sight. That's it. But when you said that as a coach, I was like, oh, you're not just a coach, you're a coach. Because I heard it. You said it, and I was like, yep. This, whether you know or not, what you said, I was like, that's a coach right there. I would love for my kids to be coached by you.
Some people just don't get that. Some people are so they don't understand the fact that, a ton of networking. I'm always out networking, and I'll tell somebody, I'm like, hey, yeah, I just want to learn about what your business is, what you do, and see how we can collaborate, see how I can help you grow it.
Yeah.
Hit me with your sales pitch. And I'm like, I don't have a sales pitch. Even, yes, I may be able to offer you something that I will end up getting compensated for. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know anything about you. How could I say, I'm going to make your business better by giving you this if I don't know anything about your business?
Got to learn a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to understand what you do before I can ever understand how to make it better.
Yeah.
And like this guy literally argued with me. I was like, you've got a sales pitch. You've got a sales pitch. You need to work on your sales pitch. You just, all you did was aggravate me. And I'm like, bro, you just don't get it. Sorry, move on.
There you go.
Some people don't get it. They've been trained that I don't know. It's just that everybody is so accustomed to the sale.
Yes.
Instead of the method, because everybody's out there selling a method.
Yeah.
It worked for them. So now they want to make it, they want to make more money off of it. So they're going to sell their method. Here's how I became a 7-figure marketing agency. We all see that on Facebook.
Those are great case studies.
Here's how I became this. Here's how I did this. And they sell it to people because people want to replicate that. That's not being an entrepreneur. That's doing it their way. That is a system.
Yep.
And great, it worked for them. But if you're not like them, it's not going to work.
And that's why those things only work for a certain percentage of the people. And they've got to put the disclaimers that these results aren't ordinary. They aren't like for everybody. And, they say those little disclaimers because they know that, hey, this is only going to work for people who think, act, and do life the way that person did it. It is. And the people that don't think that way, or it doesn't align with, or they just don't process information that way, they're going to be weirdos trying to fit themselves in that box that they don't fit in. So yeah, what you're saying is you're hitting the nail on the head. And there's nothing wrong with these books, because I'll tell you, even in a pile of trash, you can find some good stuff. So if you look in a book and something is for you, then adopt it. If there's something in that book that is just not for you, not because you're like, I don't believe that rubbish, but just because I don't talk to people like that, then don't use it. If it doesn't fit who you are, don't use it. That doesn't mean throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you might find a chapter or two that are great for you. But chapter 7, I'm never going to do that. That is against my principles or my morals or my religious beliefs or my whatever, or just my aptitude. I'm not good at doing that thing, and I will never be good at doing that thing. So therefore I can't do that. I'm going to do something else. Then great. Make it fit. Make those things that you need. Use the things that you can. So I tell people to use what you can and can what you can't. So what you can use it as a tool. Put it in your quiver. You got a new arrow. But if it's something that's like, what is this for? This is useless. So I can't use this. Then toss it. Can it. Launch it. Do what you can what you can't. So I'm a firm believer in that, because there's gold everywhere. You just got to find the gold that benefits you on your journey. And I got to know, Josh, we care about people in the same way. We care about people in the same way. We go about caring about them in different ways. So our hearts are in the same space. Our methods and our attitudes and the way we do it is different. And that is beautiful, because you know what? Your tribe is your tribe, and they are yours and yours alone. And no matter what I do and how much I try to talk like you and wear that cool hat and talk about baseball swings and biomechanics, they're gonna be like, yeah, okay, but that's not you. Sorry. You know what I mean? And that's what we all need. People need us to be our authentic selves. They need us to be who we are. There are people right now, I tell some of my clients this. There are people out there right now waiting for you to be your best self so you can help them to become their best selves. There are people waiting for you to grow and serve them. There are people waiting for you to start that business. They can take someone on a date in your restaurant. There are people waiting for you to become that doctor so they can get healing for someone that they love. There are people right now waiting for you to take that next step so they can use the services that you provide. Only you, as a matter of fact, or maybe someone like you, but you're the one that has it right now. go ahead and walk in that space. Just great power. I could talk all day on this stuff, Josh. I'm chewing your ear. I can see the blood coming at your ears right now. So I'm going to stop talking because my kids will tell me, Dad, you never stop talking.
Perfect way to end it. That's a perfect place to end it. I mean, I'm over here writing it down so I don't forget it. Use what you can what you can. I can see it on billboards, trash can, look, because everybody uses emojis, right? So you got to use what you can, and then trash can, put the emoji there, what you can, right? Listen, I'm a merchandiser, I got all that ready to go.
7% royalties is some most 7%. You heard it here, folks. Only 7%.
All right. Well,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to have my lawyer talk to you.
I love it.
No,
I love it.
All right. Hey, we'll put all your information down in the description. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and your insight. I know it's early for you out there on the West Coast, but man, so much good stuff. And show them that NC State shirt you're repping. Let them know you really are.
NC State, Wolfpack.
Even though you're a traitor and went to the West Coast, tell them you really. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You want me to add some salt to the wound? I'm actually starting my executive MBA at UCLA in a few months. So how about that for being a total traitor? Look, I'm bi-coastal. There's power there. But I'll always be a Wolfpack. That's just how that is. So
that's right. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you being on here. And thank you guys for listening. Every Monday, 9 a.m., nextdoorradio.com, and then the video follows on YouTube. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much. Let's keep this growth going, and make sure you get your books out, because this one right here was fire. Rewind it. Sweet. Lots of notes. I got at least like 15 quotes out of it. So yeah, you guys take notes. Thank you guys.
Hey, stay amazing. Take care.